What are you doing? Ready? Hello, so this video is all about how to start with the place command, and we're not using the ECollar. So I am a balance trainer. I use the ECollar with all the dogs I work with. I find it's a super helpful tool for both dogs and owners, and especially when coming to place and working on it. But I'm going to show you just using the prong collar. You can use a flat buckle collar if you want, or slip lead. Slip lead is preferred to the flat buckle collar, but it's hard when you're working on this, and you'll see, because I've introduced place to him just a little bit, not really, so you're kind of going to get to see what he does. But with the prong collar, you're giving consistent pressure around the neck, so it's helpful in moments when they put on the brakes and they don't want to come with you, or it's very easy for dogs to pull against a flat buckle collar or a slip lead, unless it's up super, super high. So just keep that in mind. So I have a 2.25 Herm Springer prong collar, and I just took out about 4 links. And I also have a quick snap buckle from Katie's Buckles. You can find her on Instagram, super helpful. And yeah, so I'm just gonna show you. So with place is a target. So what I'm using is a raised cot. I find that it's really helpful when adding the boundaries of place. They're very clear. Your dog has to step on, step off. You can use a flat bed when you're like fluffy little dog beds if you'd like, because again, place is just a target, so it's something for your dog to get on and off of. So if you have one of those, fine, but I find that it's a lot more difficult for dogs to get the clarity of what place is, much easier for them to army crawl off or have half their body off, half on. So that's just something to keep in mind. We prefer a raised bed cot. Bed cot? We refer a raised cot. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna use, Brodie's looking at Bobby. Bobby has headphones on. I think you look funny. So I'm gonna use just some leash guidance. Can you see the leash guidance if I do it? Okay. So I'm gonna say, so we're walking up to the place cot. I'm going to say place and then give some leash guidance onto the place cot. I'm also going to, I'm gonna do it and tell you what I'm doing with you actually seeing me as well. So again, leash guidance. I don't wanna give him a ton of leash. I want to be able to give him clarity with the leash guidance and my body movement. Place. Puts on the brakes a little bit. So this is very common, so I'm glad you're seeing it. So what I want to do is use my body as a magnet. I don't want to stand over here, because then it'd be really easy for him to come over on the side of place. So where your body is really important. So again, place. Good. All right, so that was better. You did so good. So I meant to get some of his food, but you don't have to use food for this. If you want to reward with some food when he gets on place, good, give a piece of food. That's great. You can also say, are you halfway getting on and off? You can also just say good as a marker to let him know you like what he's doing. All right, let me reset. Anytime that your dog gets off and they're like in a wonky spot, just reset. Place. So I'm gonna get down low, good. Because that's a little bit more encouraging. I don't want him jumping on me, good. That's a little bit more encouraging if I get behind the place cot, get down a little bit lower. And I'm also holding the leash so that he doesn't just bounce off of place. We're adding clarity with leash guidance. Let's go. Good. We're gonna do it again. Think of this as like reps. When you go to the gym and you do reps with the muscles and the things. Very similar. Place. Good. So if he pops off, I'm just giving a little bit of leash guidance. Good. Back onto place. I'm not asking for a sit. I really don't care about that. All I want is for him to stay on place and not pop off. And again, stay really close to place initially. We'll start to add in progressions of getting off of place. And also initially, more than anything, you're introducing this new command to your dog. So we will get to a point where we say no for popping off of place, but initially, just some leash guidance back on. Place. Good. Good. Nice, calm, good. You don't have to go down and, not wrestle with your dog. You don't need to go give him a big hug or anything like that. Don't make a big thing out of it. Just good. Let's go. Place. Good. Nice, that's good. Let's go. Good. Another thing, if your dog, because this is on tile floor, so it's easy for it to like move around. So if you have a dog, because all dogs are so different, he's going a little bit slower, which is nice. There are other dogs who zoom off of place and slide the place cot across the floor, and it freaks them out, and it's just a whole thing. So what you can do is put it on a rug. You can also buy place cots that actually have the rubber things underneath the little legs. I don't do that. I could just put it on the rug if I wanted to. That's something to keep in mind. Another thing, if your dog is terrified of getting on the place cot, it's a new thing, that's fine. What you can do is just flip it over, put it down on the ground so that it's flat, bring your dog over. Having a leash on is ideal for this, and just try to walk them over it. What I usually do is I'll walk, I don't know if this makes it less scary, but kind of just getting a dog to follow with me. Let's go. Good. And just walk over it. You don't even have to say place. You're just getting your dog used to this new thing. Oh, nice. Good boy, Bubba. Okay. And then after you do that a few times, flip it back over and then start again. Place. Good. Lots of smells. Good. Let's go. So these are our reps. Place. No. Place. Good. So I just said no because he was starting to sniff under the place cot. Just a little leash guidance, but it's a very simple no. And then leash guidance to show him what I want him to do instead. Let's go. So something else. So let's talk about progressions. So first, this is how you introduce the place command. Very simple with just some leash guidance. Let's go. And with some leash guidance and doing the reps. And then a progression could be place. Good. Holding the leash this way, walking a little bit past, because your dog will want to follow with you. This is where a prong collar at least is really helpful, so you can give a little bit of leash guidance backwards, back onto place when you walk past. Right now, it's a loose leash, so really more than anything, I just want to give guidance if I need to, but this is a progression, moving a little bit past place, where initially I'm just walking up to the edge of place, because it's very tempting. If I walk past, he will want to follow with me and your dog will want to follow with you. So you don't want to start that too soon. Your first session with place could be 5 to 10 minutes of just doing what we were initially doing and those reps, because you want to, it just becomes like muscle memory. It's just you're teaching your dog something new. So the more you do it, the better it gets. And then the next time that you do it, maybe tomorrow or in the afternoon, add in this progression, but be sure to have the leash this way so that you can give a little bit of leash guidance backwards to be clear. Good. Nice, calm, good. A question I get a lot is, should I be using food to reward every time they stay on place? You definitely can. I was actually going to get some of his food. So if he stayed, good, and give a piece of food. You can totally do that. Let's go. And I'm going to show you from the other way what the progression looks like.
What would be times you don't give food?
What?
What would be times you don't give food?
I don't give food if the dog gets super amped up about place. So let's go. No, come. Good. So if a dog was getting really amped up and like anticipating the food and the excitement, think about place as a calming spot. So we want to reinforce as much calmness as possible. So if you notice that my tone is calm, I'm trying to stay calm as calm as possible. I'm not saying, yay, good job, you did so awesome. And that's not the worst thing in the world, but we want this to be a calm spot. So I would use food for a dog like him because he's pretty laid back. And it's a great way to reinforce the behavior you want more of. But you can also just use your affection, a pat on the head, or good. Nice question, thank you. Place. Good. Oh, I didn't do, okay, so let's go. Okay, but it's to show you a few reps. And he's putting on the brakes a bit. This is very normal. Place is not like, it's nothing crazy. We know that this is not a scary thing to do, but a lot of dogs are used to doing what they want to do. They don't want to do what you want them to do. That seems repetitive, but you know what I mean. Dogs are very pushy. I don't want to do this, even though it's just literally hopping on something. So guiding them through it is really helpful. And this, to me, when I see the pushback, to me, it's a really great indication that we're doing exactly what we should be doing. So when your dog is on place and they start whining or popping off, think of it as, oh, this means that we're doing exactly what we should be doing, instead of my dog is giving me pushback, we probably shouldn't do this. I'm telling you, place command is going to change your life, so stick with it. Let's go. Leash guidance. Good. Place. No. Good. Nice. Let's go. Oh, he's so handsome. Place. Good. So again, I don't know if you can see, holding the leash like that when I step past. This is a progression. Let's go. Nice. Let's see if he puts on the brakes again. Let's go. Good. A little bit easier. Let's go. Good. Place. Good. A little bit of leash guidance backwards just to give him a little cue of what I want him to do instead of coming off of place. That's also the great thing about a prong collar, and I know the prong collar can be scary for a lot of you, but it helps you to add some clarity in these moments where if he had a slip lead on, not a slip lead, that can be really helpful. If he had a flat buckle collar on, it's so much easier to pull against it and just keep pulling against it. And it's harder for owners to pull their dogs through it, where the prong collar kind of helps you in those moments. All right, let's do one more rep. Let's go. Okay. Place. Good. You can also step to the side this way. This is a progression. It doesn't have to be past place over this way. You can switch up where you do it. Good. Let's go. Okay, so now I want to show you, can we move the camera towards the door? You can keep it rolling. Oh, yeah, you're doing it. Okay. Okay, so when I first start with place duration, so duration is when your dog is actually on place. This is what I like to describe as doggy meditation, getting your dog comfortable doing nothing. It's like meditation for us. Very challenging, but the more you do it, I assume, the better it gets. I don't know. I try with meditation. But okay, so for this, I'm going to tether his leash to something. What we do is, against this wall, there's a door. So I just tether his leash to the doorknob. For you, it could be, if it's close to your couch, you could tether the leash underneath the couch to those little legs. It could be a really heavy weight. Something else you can do and I'll show you, but when you tether the leash, I don't want it to be so tight that your dog can't lay down or something like that. It's actually okay if there's enough leash for them to get off, just not too far away. Because what I hear from some owners when they're not tethering the leash is that their dog gets off and then goes around the house and the owner is chasing the dog, where when the dog's leash is tethered, it's easier to just simply guide them back on. So I'm going to show you. Let's go. Place. Place. Leash guidance. Leash guidance. Place. No. Good. There you go. Because he gives a little bit of pushback. But that leash guidance with at least the prong collar really helps. So I'm just going to tie a little knot with the leash around the doorknob. He's going to try to get off. I just know him. And if he does, it's a very easy guide back on, place, guide back on. So this is really when you're going to start seeing the pushback. Introducing it is not the most challenging thing, but you're going to see some whiny stuff. I've had a dog, a Doberman I worked with, who was barking on day one on place, just like, I don't want to be here, and just barking at me. So, but tethering the leash is ideal. So do that. If you have to tether 2 leashes together so that you have enough leash, because some leashes are a bit shorter, and again, I don't want it to be super tight. I want him to be able to lay down if he wants to. Yeah, but tethering is helpful. So I hope that this is helpful. This is the initial stages of place. Some questions that I get about place duration, I'll just go through a few real quick. How long should my dog be on place when you're first starting? I would start with 10 minutes. Sometimes we'll do as much as 30 minutes to an hour initially, depending on the dog, because when I'm getting pushback from a dog, whether it's whining or them trying to pop off a lot, for me, I want to at least try to get them to a moment when they're not doing that. And it might take 30 minutes, might take an hour, but I find when I wait for that little moment, then when I let them off, it's easier the next time. Where if your dog is whining or giving you pushback and that's when you let them off, it's kind of a big reward to them that, oh, I get to whine and bark and get off, which is exactly what they want. So the key to place is being consistent with it. Start small and add each day. Check out our place command. What is it? Mindset. It's a challenge that we did all about the place command. If you're not sure what that is, message me on Instagram and I can send it to you. But it's just a challenge to incorporate place for 30 days, and that's really when you see the biggest changes. I'm super excited for you. If you want to take your place practice to the next level, ECollar work will get you there. Be sure to check out our ECollar starter guide where we show you exactly how to use the ECollar for the place command, and then also our ECollar course where you can hear me using the ECollar, when I'm using it, when I'm not. It's much more detailed, and there are 3 different dogs that I work with, so you get a perspective on what it looks like with different dogs, because not all dogs are like this. Some are much more pushy, some chew on the bed. And what do you do when that happens when you're first working with it? So we cover that in the course. But I hope this is helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to help. Bye. This is a good distraction for place. And we'll speed this up so it looks like I'm really tap dancing. All right, bye.